Hello, wonderful learners, and welcome back to English Listening Tips. I'm truly delighted you've joined me today because we're diving into something that touches the heart of nearly every English learner's journey. Those nervous butterflies that appear when it's time to speak. Can I share something personal with you? Before becoming a language coach, I spent a year studying abroad, and despite months of preparation, I remember sitting silently in my first class, my heart pounding so loudly I was sure everyone could hear it. When the professor asked me a question, my mind went completely blank, as if years of study had simply vanished. Does that sound familiar to you? If you've ever felt your confidence disappear the moment you need to speak English, when your palms get sweaty, your throat tightens, and those carefully memorized phrases suddenly feel unreachable, please know this. You are walking a path that millions before you have walked. What you're experiencing isn't weakness. It's simply part of the beautiful, challenging journey of learning a new language. And here's something I want you to truly take to heart. These feelings don't reflect your abilities or potential. They're just temporary visitors on your learning journey, not permanent residents. The wonderful news I want to share today is that you absolutely can learn to manage these feelings. Even more importantly, you can learn to speak confidently while still feeling those butterflies. Yes, that's entirely possible. I've witnessed countless students transform from being paralyzed by fear to speaking with poise and assurance, even when they still feel a little nervous inside. In today's extended session, I'm going to be your guide through understanding and managing speaking anxiety. We'll explore not just what causes nervousness, but also practical, gentle techniques to help you breathe through it, work with it, and ultimately speak with more clarity and confidence. I've filled this lesson with real examples from my students' experiences and exercises we can practice together. So, find a comfortable spot, take a deep breath, and let's begin this journey together. Remember, every step forward, no matter how small, is progress to celebrate. Before we can gently move past our speaking anxiety, let's understand what's happening in our minds and bodies when we feel nervous about speaking English. Have you ever wondered why you can understand English perfectly when reading or listening alone, but struggle when it's your turn to speak? This disconnect is completely normal and happens because different parts of our brain are involved in passive understanding versus active production. When we feel nervous about speaking, it usually stems from three core human fears. Fear of making mistakes. What if I use the wrong tense? What if my pronunciation isn't clear? Fear of being judged. Will they think I'm not intelligent? Will they lose patience with me? Fear of not being understood. What if they can't understand my accent? What if I can't express what I really want to say? These fears touch on something deeply human, our desire to connect, to be accepted, and to be valued. Language is so much more than words. It's how we share our thoughts, express our personalities, and build relationships. So it makes perfect sense that speaking in a new language feels vulnerable. One of my students, May, described it beautifully. When I speak in my native language, I feel like myself. When I speak English, I sometimes feel like a different person, a simpler version of who I really am. This feeling of disconnect can be unsettling. When these fears activate, our bodies respond with very real physical reactions. A tight or dry throat, sweaty palms, or a racing heart, trembling hands or a shaky voice, mental fog or temporary memory loss, shallow breathing or feeling short of breath, tension in your shoulders, neck, or jaw. If you've experienced these sensations, I want you to know something important. Your body isn't betraying you. It's actually trying to protect you from what it perceives as a social threat. This is your fight or flight response, an ancient survival mechanism that doesn't distinguish between a physical danger and the social danger of potentially making a language mistake. Here's a perspective shift that has helped many of my students. Your nervousness isn't your enemy. It's a sign that you care deeply about communicating well. It shows that speaking English matters to you. And what matters is always worth pursuing, even when it feels challenging. Think about it this way. Would a musician never feel nervous before a performance? Would a skilled presenter never have butterflies before speaking to a large audience? Of course they would. Feeling nervous doesn't mean you're not ready. It means you're stepping into growth. Now that we understand what's happening when we feel nervous, let's work on reshaping how we think about these feelings. The stories we tell ourselves about our nervousness have enormous power. When we interpret our racing heart as a sign that I can't do this, we're adding an extra layer of difficulty. But when we see that same racing heart as a sign that my body is giving me energy for this important moment, everything shifts. Here are 5 powerful mindset shifts that can transform your speaking experience. Mistakes are not failures. They're signposts on the learning path. Every single fluent English speaker you admire has made thousands of mistakes along their journey. I still make mistakes daily, and I've been speaking English for decades. Even native speakers mix up words, forget vocabulary, or stumble over complicated sentences. Maria, a student from Brazil, shared a breakthrough moment with me. I used to count every mistake I made in conversation. Then one day, I decided to count how many messages I successfully communicated instead. It completely changed how I felt about speaking. Try this. Instead of thinking, I need to speak perfectly, tell yourself, I'm here to connect and share ideas. Perfection isn't the goal, communication is. 2. Nervousness doesn't indicate lack of preparation. Sometimes the most prepared students feel the most nervous. This isn't because they're not ready, it's often because they care deeply about applying all they've learned correctly. Remember, feeling nervous doesn't mean you're unprepared. It might actually mean you care deeply about using all you've learned. 3. You're not being judged as harshly as you think. We tend to believe others are evaluating our every word, but research shows something fascinating. People are typically far more focused on themselves than on judging others. Most listeners are simply trying to understand your message, not analyze your grammar. And those who speak multiple languages themselves, they typically feel admiration, not judgment, when they hear someone brave enough to speak a new language. 4. Progress happens outside your comfort zone. Every moment of discomfort in speaking is actually expanding your abilities. The nervous energy you feel is the sensation of your comfort zone stretching. And that's exactly where learning happens. Sanjay, an engineer who took my course last year, kept a discomfort journal where he logged every uncomfortable English-speaking situation he faced. After 6 months, he looked back and realized the conversations that made him most nervous became the ones where he learned the most valuable lessons. 5. You belong in this conversation. Sometimes language learners feel like guests or outsiders when speaking English. I want you to replace this thought with a powerful truth. You have every right to express yourself in English. Your voice matters. Your thoughts are valuable. Your accent is part of your unique identity. Try placing your hand over your heart and telling yourself, I have something worth saying. My voice deserves to be heard in any language I choose to speak. These mindset shifts don't happen overnight, but with gentle persistence, they can transform your relationship with speaking English. Now that we've addressed our thinking patterns, let's focus on your body, because mind and body are always in conversation with each other. When you calm your physical response, your thoughts often follow. Here are some techniques you can use anywhere, anytime, even during a conversation, to help steady your body. the 478 breathing technique. This breathing pattern sends a signal of safety to your nervous system and can reduce anxiety almost immediately. Breathe in quietly through your nose for a count of 4. Hold your breath for a count of 7. Exhale completely through your mouth for a count of 8, making a gentle whoosh sound. Repeat this cycle 3-4 times. You can use this before an English conversation, during a pause, or even while listening to another person speak. Regressive muscle relaxation. This quick version can be done discreetly, even sitting at a desk. Gently tense your shoulders up toward your ears. 5 seconds. Release and drop them completely, feeling the relief. Make tight fists with both hands. 5 seconds. Release and let your hands fall naturally. Press your tongue against the roof of your mouth. 5 seconds. Release and allow your jaw to hang slightly open. This sequence releases physical tension that can tighten your speaking muscles. Voice warm-up sequence. Your voice is an instrument that benefits from warming up, especially when you're nervous. Hum gently on one note. This engages your resonators. Sigh from high to low, like you're very relieved. This releases throat tension. Speak a simple phrase in a calm, low voice. I am ready to speak clearly. Paulo, a business professional from Portugal, shared that he does this warm-up in the restroom before every English meeting. It's my secret ritual, he told me. My colleagues never know I've done it, but I can feel the difference in how steadily my voice comes out. The grounding technique. If your mind is racing and you feel disconnected from the present moment, try this subtle grounding exercise. Feel your feet making firm contact with the floor. Notice 5 things you can see in your immediate environment. Acknowledge 4 things you can physically feel, like the texture of your clothing. Identify 3 sounds you can hear. Notice 2 things you can smell. Acknowledge 1 good thing about this moment. This brings you back to the present, making it easier to focus on the conversation rather than your anxiety. Body language reset. How you hold your body directly affects how you feel and sound. Roll your shoulders back and down. Imagine a string pulling gently from the top of your head. Allow your chest to open slightly. Place your feet firmly on the ground. If sitting, sit toward the edge of your chair to engage your core. Offer a genuine smile. Even a small one activates confidence-building brain chemicals. Yasmina, a medical student, shared that changing her posture transformed her English presentations. I used to hunch forward, almost making myself smaller. Now I stand tall before speaking. The words flow more easily when my body feels confident. Remember, your body doesn't distinguish between real confidence and acted confidence. When you adopt confident postures, your brain starts producing the same chemicals it would if you were already feeling confident. Now let's focus on specific speaking techniques that will help you communicate more clearly and confidently, even when you're feeling nervous. Embrace the power of the pause. Many English learners feel they need to speak continuously without stopping. This creates enormous pressure. Instead, intentional pauses can be your secret weapon. Use a pause before responding to give yourself thinking time. Pause between sentences to plan your next thought. Pause for emphasis to highlight important points. Pause when you need a moment to find a word. Native speakers naturally pause all the time. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a powerful speaking tool. Try saying this phrase with intentional pauses. I believe that taking your time is a sign of thoughtful communication. Speak 15% slower than you think you should. When we're nervous, we tend to rush our words. This makes us harder to understand and increases our own stress. Speaking slightly slower gives you multiple benefits. Your pronunciation becomes clearer. You have more time to formulate your thoughts. Listeners have more time to process your message. You appear more confident and authoritative. Carlos, a software developer who took my course, was shocked when he recorded himself. I thought I was speaking normally, but in the recording, my words were running together. When I deliberately slowed down, not only could others understand me better, but I made fewer grammar mistakes because I had time to think. Speak 15% slower than you think you should. When we're nervous, we tend to rush our words. This makes us harder to understand and increases our own stress. Speaking slightly slower gives you multiple benefits. Your pronunciation becomes clearer. You have more time to formulate your thoughts. Listeners have more time to process your message. You appear more confident and authoritative. Carlos, a software developer who took my course, was shocked when he recorded himself. I thought I was speaking normally, but in the recording, my words were running together. When I deliberately slowed down, not only could others understand me better, but I made fewer grammar mistakes because I had time to think. Use sentence frames and connectors. Having ready-made starting phrases reduces the cognitive load when you're speaking. Here are some versatile frames you can adapt for many situations. From my perspective, one thing I've noticed is, what I find interesting about this is, I'd like to add that reminds me of. These give you a running start while your brain prepares the rest of your thought. Master the art of self-correction. Everyone makes mistakes when speaking. The difference between appearing confident or nervous often lies in how you handle those mistakes. Instead of apologizing profusely, try these smooth recovery techniques. Simple restart. Let me rephrase that. Clarification. What I mean is, friendly acknowledgement. Let me try that again. Practice these phrases until they become automatic, and you'll find yourself recovering from speaking mistakes with ease and grace. Voice modulation for engagement. A monotone voice often results from nervousness and concentration. Practice adding gentle variation to your voice. Emphasize key words by speaking them slightly louder or slower. Raise your pitch slightly when asking questions. Lower your pitch slightly at the end of statements. Express enthusiasm by allowing your voice to rise on words that excite you. Try reading this with expression. I'm really excited about this project. Have you seen the latest updates? They're impressive. Use your hands thoughtfully. Nervous energy often makes us either freeze our hands or move them too much. Instead, use deliberate gestures to emphasize key points. Keep your hands visible, not in pockets or behind your back. Use open palm gestures when explaining concepts. Match your gestures to your words for added clarity. Aisha, a marketing professional, shared, I used to hide my hands when speaking English. When I started using them naturally to support my words, not only did I feel more comfortable, but people seemed to understand my points better. Now that we've covered techniques for speaking in the moment, let's discuss how to build your confidence through consistent practice. Creating a safe practice environment. Before you face high-stakes situations, create low-pressure opportunities to practice. Mirror practice. 10 minutes daily. Stand in front of a mirror. Choose a simple topic, your day, your favorite food, a place you love. Speak continuously for 2-3 minutes, maintaining eye contact with yourself. Notice your facial expressions and body language. Practice smiling occasionally as you speak. This helps you become comfortable with seeing and hearing yourself speak English. Shadowing practice. 15 minutes daily. Choose a short audio clip from a podcast, video, or audiobook. 30-60 seconds. Listen once completely. Play it again, this time repeating each phrase immediately after you hear it. Focus on matching, not just the words, but the rhythm, intonation, and emphasis. Record yourself doing this exercise occasionally to track your progress. This trains your mouth to form English sounds more naturally and builds muscle memory. The empty chair technique. Place an empty chair in front of you. Imagine a supportive, interested listener sitting there. Explain a concept you know well for 3 to 5 minutes. If you get stuck, take a deep breath and continue. Thank your imaginary listener. When you finish, Takeshi, a science teacher, practiced this way before giving his first presentation in English. Talking to the empty chair felt strange at first, but it helped me organize my thoughts and speak more fluently when I faced real people. Progressive exposure practice. Gradually increase the challenge level of your speaking situations. Record voice messages for yourself. Send voice messages to supportive friends. Have one-on-one conversations with patient speakers. Join small group discussions. Speak in larger groups or more formal settings. Each step builds on the confidence gained from the previous one. The failure practice game. This might sound counterintuitive, but it's incredibly powerful for reducing fear. Set a timer for 3 minutes. Speak in English and deliberately make as many mistakes as possible. Celebrate each error with a smile or small gesture. At the end, notice how you survived even your worst speaking. This playful approach helps desensitize you to the fear of making mistakes. As Maya, a finance professional, told me, after trying to make mistakes on purpose, real mistakes stopped feeling so scary. It completely changed my relationship with speaking. Visualization for speaking success. Elite athletes use visualization to prepare for performance, and you can too. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Imagine an upcoming speaking situation in vivid detail. See yourself speaking calmly and clearly. Imagine handling challenges with ease. Feel the satisfaction of communicating effectively. Open your eyes and carry that feeling with you. Practice this visualization daily, especially before important conversations or presentations. Now let's talk about specific strategies for real-world conversations. Those moments when you're actually engaged with others. Starting conversations with confidence. The beginning of a conversation often sets the tone for what follows. Try these approachable openers. I've been looking forward to chatting with you. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on... Before we start, I'd like to mention that I'm still learning English, so I appreciate your patience. Setting in context helps manage both your expectations and those of your conversation partners. The honesty approach. There's real power in acknowledging your feelings when appropriate. I'm a bit nervous speaking in English, but I'm excited to practice with you. I might need an extra moment sometimes to find the right words. Could you speak a little slower? That helps me follow better. Most people respond with kindness and support when you express vulnerability authentically. Nadia, a doctoral student, shared how this approach transformed her academic discussions. Once I stopped pretending I was perfectly comfortable and occasionally mentioned that English isn't my first language, people became more supportive. The conversations actually became more genuine. Active listening as a buffer. When you're feeling nervous, shifting focus to listening can paradoxically improve your speaking. Give full attention to the speaker. Nod occasionally to show understanding. Use brief acknowledgments like, I see, or that's interesting. Ask follow-up questions based on what you've heard. This creates natural pauses for you to gather your thoughts while still fully participating in the conversation. The redirection technique. If you get stuck or lost during a conversation. That's an interesting point. It reminds me of, before I respond to that, I'm curious about, I'd like to go back to something you mentioned earlier. These phrases give you control of the conversation flow while you regain your footing. Physical anchors for calm. Having a physical reminder of calm can be remarkably effective. Wear a special bracelet or ring that you touch when feeling nervous. Carry a small object in your pocket that you can hold discreetly. Have a specific gesture, like gently pressing your thumb and forefinger together. These become conditioned triggers that help activate your calm response. Marcos, a customer service representative, shared, I keep a small stone in my pocket during English calls. When I feel nervous, I hold it and it reminds me to breathe and speak slowly. My colleagues never know I'm doing it. Recovery phrases for difficult moments. Even with preparation, you may sometimes struggle. Having ready-made recovery phrases can help. Let me think about how to explain this. I know what I want to say, but I'm searching for the right word. Let me approach this from a different angle. These buy you time while maintaining your composure. As we near the end of our session, I want to share something profoundly important. You are so much more than your ability to speak English. Your intelligence doesn't decrease when you switch languages. Your personality doesn't diminish. Your worth doesn't change. You are the same capable, interesting, valuable person, simply using different sounds to express yourself. I've worked with surgeons who struggled with basic English conversation, brilliant engineers who apologized for their accent, and gifted artists who felt diminished when speaking English. Each one needed to remember. Their essence remained intact, regardless of which language they were using. Hiro, a respected architect, shared this realization. For years, I thought my English limitations were my limitations as a professional and as a person. One day I realized I don't judge others by their Japanese skills, so why would they judge my whole self by my English? This simple thought liberated me. Your accent is not something to eliminate, it's part of your unique voice. It tells the story of your journey. Every imperfect sentence is evidence of your courage to grow and connect across cultural boundaries. And here's something I've observed time and again. The qualities that make someone a good communicator, warmth, authenticity, attentiveness, passion for their subject, transcend language skills. People connect with your energy and intent, often more than your perfect grammar. We've covered a lot today, from understanding the roots of speaking anxiety to practical techniques for managing nerves and speaking with greater confidence. Remember that becoming comfortable speaking English is a journey, not a destination. Each conversation, each practice session, each moment of pushing through discomfort is growth. I'd like to leave you with a weekly challenge that will help you apply what we've learned today. Your 7-day speaking confidence challenge. Choose one technique from each category we've discussed. One mindset shift, one physical calming technique, one speaking technique, one practice method. Apply these 4 chosen techniques consistently for the next 7 days. Keep a simple journal noting what you practice and what you observe. Then, share your experience in the comments below. I practiced technique for 7 days, and here's what I noticed about my speaking confidence. Remember, small, consistent steps create lasting change. You don't need to transform overnight. Each time you practice, you're rewiring your brain for greater speaking confidence. Thank you for joining me today. I believe in you and your English journey. Every word you speak, even when your voice shakes, is progress to celebrate. I'll see you in our next lesson. Until then, keep speaking, keep growing, and remember to be kind to yourself along the way. You've got this.